Welcome back to the channel. I want to show you guys some general editing tips as well as the index tab. So when I have an edit, I usually just drag it in as a long play here and I'll zoom in. And normally I'm just pulling out the gaps and timing stuff and getting rid of ums and ahs and any parts where I think the video could be a little tighter. So I'll go through and start chopping it. So generally speaking, I'm on V1 and A1 unless I have some other audio content on the other channels. So I might clean up the timeline by right-clicking and say delete empty tracks, just to clean up the space. I usually have these subtitles left over from the previous project, so I'll grab these, lasso them, and just delete it, but I'll keep the track. Whenever you have a track here, it'll save all your settings. As I've shown in another video, you can click this three-dot menu on the subtitle and you have your presets right here. So you could always add them if you needed to, but if you have it already formatted how you like it, you can just keep this track instead of deleting it. It'll always populate when you regenerate subtitles. Then I'll normally clear all my markers and I'll start in on just tightening up the edit. Now, things that I always have on my edit are these title cards. So this here in the end card. And I keep that in a power bin. If you don't see your power bins or your smart bins on the upper left here, there's this three-dot option menu. You can say show smart bins and power bins. The difference between smart bins and power bins is smart bins will be project specific. So all your timelines, whenever you make a timeline by default, they go in here. They're also available out here in your regular media pool, but this just compartmentalizes them by default through Blackmagic. So you might not even have keywords, but it'll recognize, oh, here's video only, here's audio only. If you analyze your clips, it'll show you dialogue. And you can add your own categories here too. I pretty much use the timelines every edit. And then power bins, these are going to go along with any project. If you make a new one or open up any of them, these carry across. A project name, that's another just default asset that Blackmagic includes. The ones I've added is the snap captions here, which is like a captioning tool, some logos, thumbnail, and then I made this tutorial card, which is where those cards live. So they're always there, always in a bin. I can just grab them if I need them on other projects. As I said, on this one, I keep these on the timeline. So speaking of that, I always go in and I just click on this and change it to the title. So it's a Fusion comp. I just hit Shift 5, change the title in Fusion. I'll show you that real quick. So I have this group bundled, so we don't have to see all that. You can ungroup it here. So it has all these assets and how I built this with the rolling of the titles and everything like that. But I just keep that in a group because all I really need to do is change this title reveal. That's the secondary line here, and everything else stays the same, like the shine on the logo and the timing and everything. So I just keep that in there. It's easy to change and update, and it just sits at the beginning of my timeline. Now, under the index tab, if you don't have that open, normally it's under just edit index. Looks like this, just an EDL. Tracks and marker columns. And I use tracks pretty much constantly. And the way I use that is as I'm going through, if I need to cut my video track, my V1 and my A1, those two are auto track selected with these little arrows here. But if I need to make some other cuts really quick, you can click on them here in the timeline. You can use shortcuts, but I find if you have the track index open, you can just hold and drag, and that'll lock your tracks, mute your tracks, all that. You can choose whichever one you need. And I find that to be really handy. So we'll go back to default. Now I have this adjustment clip here that stays, and this is just like a zoom I have. So if I know I need to zoom into something, depending on what I'm talking about, it's automatically going to zoom. I can move it around here. And if I had a dynamic zoom, it would have a little indicator up here. So let's demonstrate that. If I had it here, and then let's say I zoomed to a different location, like keyframed. As soon as you make a keyframe in a move and you go back here and you pull it down, you get this little dotted line arrow that lets you know there's a dynamic move. So if I have to, I reset it and then I'll zoom into wherever I need to. Usually it's a zoom like that, and then I'll drag it around to wherever I need the screen to focus on, and I can change the length to coincide with what I'm talking about right here. You can also access some of these options with Shift C to get into your keyframes. Then I have a couple texts in case I need text. And then I have this call out that I use here And if I need it activated, I just hit D and I'll click on the text and come over here to title and change it. And if I need another one, I normally just lasso it and option drag to get a new one. Shortcut I use is clicking the clip, holding option and pushing up and down arrows to get it where I want them to be. And then, as I said, a lot of times I'll come in and grab everything except the opening and end card and disable. That way I kind of start fresh with no unexpected zooms or titles popping up. And if I need a title or if I need an adjustment clip, I can just activate it and drag it to wherever I want. And then here's another one that I have blacked out, just called a call out. And that one's like a little arrow. I downloaded this from a user. It's a Fusion comp. So you can go in and point to where you need stuff to point to and change the selector. So I have that out in case I need it. And then I use the option shift keys to lock the tracks quite often. And those are also in the edit menu if you don't have the shortcuts memorized. And so those are just some of the functions that I find pretty handy to use all the time. And as I've shown you before, I have a few keyboard preferences for braking, so I don't have to switch over to the razor blade. And then I have one that'll cut to playhead there. And those are under my keyboard preferences. Call up your keyboard. You can get there from Resolve Start menu here, keyboard preferences, or it's Command Option K. And then here's all your shortcuts. So if I go to number 1 here, not only is it cut to angle 1, but I have end to playhead. And then 2, I have cut to angle 2 in razor. And 3 is cut to angle 3 and start to playhead. So I keep the functionality that has by default, but I just made these few edit options so I can just edit with one hand and go through. If I need to trim all this dead space, I just hit 3 and then I keep going. I look for another gap. I'll hit 2. I'll move forward, hit 3, and just tighten up the edit that way. All right, so those are some general editing tips and the edit index that I wanted to show you guys. Pretty useful. I find myself keeping that open quite a bit along with the media pool, and I can just go under here real quick, lock when I need to lock or disable, and just swipe down. And it's a lot easier than just going in and clicking all the individual tracks, depending on how complex your timeline is. All right, thanks for watching as always, and I will see you guys on the next video.